is finally time to replace the belt in this Famicom disk system. Full disclaimer, I have already opened this up once just to take a look inside. The old rubber belt was completely disintegrated and trashed. So I was able to pull the pieces out and then kind of clean with IPA to get the gears cleaned off there for this. So we're gonna go ahead and open this guy up and put this new belt in. And we're going to go ahead and take the cover off. Now, one of the big things that you will want to watch out for if you are doing any sort of repair like this, this LED cable and kind of little board here is fairly gentle. I almost tore it off the first time. So you will want to be very careful. But first we are going to take out the C battery compartment. I just find that hilarious that this could run off of C batteries for months because all it is doing is powering a little floppy disk drive there. And remove the actual disk drive itself. Fun fact, these screws here that I'm taking out are actually into the rubber feet that are on the bottom. I thought that was a very interesting design choice. I actually had to pry these metal brackets off last time I was kind of in this guy and working on it. Now we're going to do the last two screws here that are for the power supply board. This is actually right around where the RAM adapter connects. And this is where I had a little struggle bus time last time. So I really want to be careful as I take this out. I want to disconnect this cable. Kind of seats in. It is a tough one. I don't want to pry it with tools. There we go. Now we are ready to go to work. One of the biggest things that I would advise is being careful. There are several wires that are tucked around. So now we want to loosen up this supply board here. So I'm going to undo that screw. Undo this screw here. And one more that is similar. A nearly stripped one the first time opening it. There's such a loud pop. You could tell this had never been touched or opened since it was produced because man, those screws were locked into the plastic and metal. And then this guy here, this last screw is actually different from the rest, so you want to make sure you remember that this one goes to connect to kind of the drive head there. And what we need to do, we need to be working to free up. So if you'll see here, these cables are carefully routed tightly under this hook. So I'm gonna release them. And then there's another hook here that I also need to release cables from. So I'm gonna kind of carefully, come on. You don't wanna, whoops, you don't wanna hurt the cables by doing this, but just want to get them. There we go. Over. Good grief. I'm about to break my Famicom disk system. Klutzy hands today. Alright, so now that we have kind of that loose, what we are going to do is gently and carefully lift this up and back. I want to make sure, oh, and one more I forgot. Another one over here. Good grief. I'll loosen that up as well. There we go. So now I can actually have a little leeway to tilt this guy up and back. And again, you'll see that these started hooking under again. Good gravy. It's almost like Nintendo didn't want people going in there taking their stuff apart. Imagine that. Okay, I'm just gonna set that up like this out of the way, and then we get to our main assembly here. So we are going to take these 3 off. And to loosen this up, you actually have to twist to the right, clockwise a little bit, until you can find kind of the spot. There we go. All right. Yay for not breaking it yet. Okay, so this is the part where it gets interesting. I have a new replacement belt here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to loop it under this and kind of pull it up over. So let's give this another shot. Get this down here so that the gear will line up. Lift it up and over. There we go. Ba-ba-da-da. So I'll get that up and in. And there we have it. A new belt for this Famicom disk system. So now let's begin putting it back together. There is a spot where it may need to be adjusted later. We won't really know until we try this and put one of the games in. So if we need to, we can also do that. Remember, we got our special one with the little washer there, the spiky washer. Goes in this back corner here. Time for our bracket to go back on. I'm also going to make sure that I reseat these wires where I found them. And make sure that is all seated and clipped. And then this one over here as well. It's kind of a funky clip. There we go. We're going to reattach our power cable here. Carefully making sure I get all these pins lined up. There we go. And now I can get my screws with the washers put back in for this here. Going to carefully put the front piece back on. Kind of slides in to cover here. And I need to tuck this wire back in its spot. There we go. All right, so we got our cover on here. All right, so there we have it. We are gonna have to test this out, and what better game to do it with than our good old friend Zelda.